Okay, guys, so I have randomly decided that this sweater that I've been crocheting for my boyfriend, here's the first panel that I made. I kind of want to unravel the whole thing and knit it instead. So the biggest problem here is that I've only ever knit a scarf. And all morning I've been watching YouTube tutorials on how to increase and decrease in knitting and watching other sweater making tutorials to try to figure out, acquire knowledge and think, how am I going to use this knowledge to apply it to this and hopefully freehand something, because I really just don't think it's going to be that difficult. But also I might crash out because I have been crocheting like my whole life and just started. I mean, I tried learning when I was like 10 and I knit a scarf and that was as far as I got. But I don't know. I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I just think it's going to, I don't know. Like, I like the ribbed texture from working in the back loops only, but I just feel like the knit is going to look way more put together. And if I do, no, when I do finish it and accomplish it, I'm going to feel so satisfied and be so happy with it. So I don't know. Yeah. So my plan is this. First, I need to make a swatch. Then while that swatch is being blocked, I'm going to keep editing my other video, which by the time I post this, it should be up. It's the first episode of this new series I'm starting where I confront my abandoned projects. So while that block is drying up, I'm going to work on that video and then take some measurements of a sweater that I know my boyfriend already likes the way that it fits, and then just work from the front, the upper neck of the back, and then form the neck hole and work the front and then join and start working in the round and then make the sleeves and then be done. So prayers for me that I don't crash out and I do not abandon this project. My motivation for not abandoning this project is that I've already abandoned like 2 projects that were for my boyfriend, and he's been asking me for a while to make something for him, and I know it would be really special. I've made things for him before, and I just knit or crocheted him a hat, but I've not really made him like a shirt or anything that he could wear because I've always just been, I don't know, intimidated by it. I make clothes for myself all the time, but I feel like they work up so much quicker for women's clothes versus men's clothes. Like usually they have a broader build, so it takes way longer, and I don't know. Okay, enough talking. We're gonna make a swatch. I don't think I'm gonna do any ribbing on this just because it's already a lot going on for me to knit a sweater when I've never done that before. And it's just too much math on top of the math that I already have to do. So the only ribbing I think I'm going to do is the cuffs and then like the hem at the bottom. So we're going to make a swatch. I'm going to be using these needles that I thrifted. I don't even know what size they are. They're probably a 10. I don't know. I don't see any numbers on here, so yeah. And then of course I am going to be using this same yarn. I'm going to leave this panel alone. I'm not going to unravel it yet until I see that everything else is going fine. I'm going to unravel this panel because it's not like I got all that far. And I'm going to make the swatch with this. And then I do have a few more skeins of this, and I do think this is an instance where somehow knit is going to work up faster than crochet, and I don't know. It's also an ombre too, so I feel like, see, I like the stripes going vertical. Damn. Instead of horizontal, and that's what's going to happen. So if I do it this way, oh, shit. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to do a big swatch and see what the colorway looks like, and then I'll decide what I want to do. Fuck, that totally kind of ruins the video, but okay. So I'm either going to unravel this and continue knitting, or I'm going to see how the swatch goes and then continue crocheting it if that is seeming to work out better. But okay, anyway, let's do that now. Okay, guys, it is very clearly nighttime. I'm in my jammies and I have finished the upper back portion, or the upper part of the back panel basically, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn and then add my waste yarn through the stitches to put them on hold for right now. And then I'm going to pick up the shoulder and start working that. I am following this tutorial for a knit sweater from Knit Crow Addict, and actually I have not subscribed to her, but I just subscribed to her right now, and I will link this tutorial in the description. I'm not following it exactly since I am using my own measurements and stuff. It's just I'm using it as a guide because I don't, well, before this project, I didn't know how to increase and decrease and how the structure and process for building a sweater in this way, how that, what the order of operations was basically. I don't know why that was so hard for me to articulate, but so her video is really easy to follow. If you do want to make that exact sweater, it seems to be perfect for beginners as long as you have learn the basics of casting on and knit and purl. I think if you can knit a swatch, a square, a scarf, I think that you can handle that. But like I said, I'm not using her pattern directly. I just need some guidance in how to increase and decrease and where to carry on in the next steps. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use my darning needle and this yellow waste yarn that you can see that it's been frogged from another project where I used it as waste yarn, and put these stitches on hold, and I'm going to follow her tutorial and start picking up the shoulders. So okay, so now my panel is on this waste yarn, and then following her tutorial, we're going to flip it around and I'm going to start picking up some of these stitches, but I'm going to be referencing her video because this is my first sweater. It's my first time doing anything like this. So you're never going to believe this, but I did mess up again. And so I'm holding up what I'm making. I'm holding up my project to the reference sweater, and what I'm going to do is simply mark where these stitches, mark where the neckline starts. So is this super mathematical? No, but we see where the maths took us now. Could have very well been user error. Despite the many stereotypes about Asians, I've never really been good at math. So that's just kind of how it is, unfortunately. I just don't understand how I was so far off, but that's okay. It's okay. And I'm going to fold this in half and just kind of make sure that it at least lines up where I have my stitch markers. And it does not. Perfect. So actually lining it up that way worked out better for me. But anyway, I'm going to tie the bottom back up and I'm going to unravel all my work and try again. But that's okay. Even though I'm having to unravel all this and I was so far off, I'm still so proud of myself and I'm so motivated because I just can't believe I'm doing this and how far I've gotten. And just how familiar I'm getting with knitting. So I'm super proud of myself. I don't care that I've had to start over so many times. It's fine. So it's the next day and I have finished up the front panel, well, the upper front panel, I guess, and this is what it's looking like. I'm a little bit worried that the neck hole is ridiculously large. My boyfriend just tried it on and it's like almost like a boat neck, but I'm hoping that once I add the ribbed collar that it'll make it better. But I'm super proud of myself for learning how to decrease and attach the neckline. So now the next step is going to be joining the body and then finishing that up. And my goal is to try to finish that part tonight so that tomorrow I can start working on the sleeves. And I think I can finish the sweater in the next 2 days. So yeah. Okay, guys, let me do a little check-in. It is a couple days later, and no, I have not finished the sweater because I have had other things to do. On Monday, I just really rested and then did some chores, and then Tuesday I had to work on some graphic design stuff, but I haven't tied anything off, so I gotta be kind of careful. But I cannot believe that I've done this, and neck hole looks enormous, but I'm hoping that a ribbed collar will fix that. And then I started working the ribbing for the bottom. I'm gonna probably do like 10 or 15 rows for that and then move on to the sleeves, which I'm super excited about. And if you're wondering, Hunter, why are you dressed like you're about to go on a run? You'll never believe this. Guys, I think I'm gonna go on a run. I got Hokas for Christmas, and I swear every time I wear them, I get this like bouncy feeling, and my feet are like, we should run right now. But I don't like to run. I hate running. But this seasonal depression is it's kicking my ass. So that's how bad it is. That's how desperate for sunlight I am. And also because I work from home, I don't get out much. So, and I'm very extroverted. So this is not great. This was my choice, obviously, to work from home and work for myself. I really wanted this. I wanted the freedom to choose when I do and don't leave the house and what time I get up in the morning and go to bed and when I work and when I want to get things done. But the thing is that also my car, I cannot drive it right now because my boyfriend needs to fix the battery. Um, so I don't really have the choice of leaving. So I feel like Rapunzel and I'm just kind of trapped here. But I've just been I haven't gotten out much, and so now I'm trying to get out. So we're gonna go for a walk and see if my feet start picking up the pace and then I start running. I'm really flat footed, so it's always been just not enjoyable for me to run. I like exercising, I love lifting weights and stuff, even when I'm bored and tired and ready to leave the gym. That is still fun to me because it feels like an accomplishment. Running feels like death. So, anyway, enough chit chat. I'm stalling. I'm gonna try to go run, and there will not be any video evidence of that, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Okay, you're just gonna have to like ignore the sunspot on me because my blinds are broken and I can't lift them up anymore. But this is a sweater. I finally finished it. I just pulled it out of the dryer. When we tried it on last night, he tried it on, and this part was a little bit short. So I'm hoping that after it's been washed and the stitches have relaxed a little bit, that maybe it's a bit longer. If it's not long enough, I am going to unravel this and do more rows, but I'm not going to record that because it's been over a week since my last video and I really want to stay consistent, and the sweater is pretty much done. So hopefully I will get a clip of him tonight trying it on. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I definitely learned a lot and I see a lot of the mistakes that I made. But there's kind of just no going back now at this point. I switched needles for the ribbing on the cuffs and the neckline, but not for the bottom. And let me tell you, this first sleeve was absolute hell. It was a hellscape. At first, I did a lot of math trying to figure out how to make them slope because I didn't know that Austin was already expecting them to be slouchy like this, and he liked that and wanted it to be that way. But when I started decreasing and stuff, which I don't even know how to do that in the round, I just was guessing, it just looked so bad. And then when I got down to the cuffs, it was decreasing here. I switched needles for the cuff and I mean, it was ridiculous. Every time I thought I had enough stitches for the cuff to be big enough for his hand to fit through, by the time I cast it off, it literally was like this big of a circle. So I redid it a bajillion times. Finally got it right. I took notes on how I did it. Then I did the other sleeve. Actually, I don't even remember which sleeve I did first anymore, but it doesn't matter. Similar situation with the neckline. I only had to redo it once. So I technically did the neckline twice. The first time I did it, it ended up being way too small. And then I picked up more stitches the second time and it turned out perfect, I think. So yeah, some of my other mistakes I've noticed is just wherever I had to pick up stitches to start a new part of it, for instance, the sleeve and the neckline, there's these really big, here, let me sit down. There's these really big gaps. I don't know if you can tell. It's more obvious on him because, or here you can see. And I'm not really sure what to do about that besides maybe when I am knitting the main panel that I'm picking up from, I just need to knit tighter. I definitely see in certain areas where my tension wasn't consistent, but I'm proud of myself for being fairly consistent throughout the entirety of the project. So I am just overwhelmed with joy for this project, honestly, y'all. And I mean, I know that I'll probably look back on this in the future and think, yikes, that's not my best work. But as someone who's crocheted my whole life, and I did try to learn knitting when I was 10 or 11, and it just didn't stick. I think I just really had to wait until my frontal lobe fully developed to understand it. But as someone who doesn't really knit and has always been intimidated by it because it just didn't feel as forgiving, the whole drop stitch situation always freaked me out. So with all that being said, I'm really proud of this, and it was just something that I wasn't confident in, and now my confidence is maybe a little too high when it comes to knitting. I'm already planning my next project, and I I've just always been someone who really did believe that you can do anything that you put your mind to. But of course I'm human, and of course I have doubts in myself sometimes, and I have always felt that way about knitting. So to take on this project and really confront it and confront my fear of knitting, I guess sounds ridiculous, but it's true. It just, guys, you can do anything. You just have to try, and sometimes you have to try harder than the other person does who's doing it. Maybe they get it better than you do or quicker than you do, but that doesn't matter. Like, don't worry about what they're doing. Just focus on yourself and what you want to do, and you can do it. You just have to try, and don't be afraid. I was always put off by knitting because I felt like it was such an investment of time because it does take so much longer than crocheting, and I was so intimidated. I was so concerned about spending all this time making a project and then it turning out like shit, you know? But I've had crochet projects like that. So what difference does it make? I just know I do have anger issues on the DL. But I just was so afraid of the type of rage that I could feel. It is all consuming. It tightens my whole chest. That needs to be unpacked, but not right now. And sometimes when sewing projects or other types of projects don't go my way, or I face a lot of obstacles during the project, I absolutely lose my mind. And I didn't want to feel that way, but I did it, and I am so proud of myself. So this is your sign. If you're wanting to learn a new thing this year, if you are a crocheter who wants to try knitting, do it. Just do it. Not sponsored by Nike. Carpe diem, seize the day, YOLO. Just do it. Learn new things. I feel great. I'm this is just bringing me so much joy. All right, I'm going to shut up now. Anyway, if you have made it all the way here to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you follow through with whatever new skill you want to learn this year. I hope that if you've been wanting to try to knit, that you try, and tell me in the comments what you're working on. And yeah, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.